All right, guys, we've got us a 2021 F-150 Lariat in, and the pinion seal's leaking. So we're going to change the pinion seal. So I've pulled the truck up on some 2x12s just to get it up off the ground just a little bit more. The front wheels are chocked since I'm going to be disconnecting the drive shaft. And what I usually like to do, just to give me some extra room, is I jack the body up, usually by the hitch, just to give me that extra, room underneath the truck, so I don't have to be as cramped up as I would be if it wasn't jacked up. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have to pull the drive shaft out or disconnect it from the differential, and then take the nut off. Now there's a little bit of a trick to this, because there's a crush sleeve in the differential that you're not supposed to crush it any more than it already is. What the book tells you to do is measure how much torque it takes to come off with the nut, and then when you go back on, you go back to that same torque. I think they said plus or minus 2 or 3 pounds. So I'm going to try to measure the torque coming off. I'm also going to mark the nut to the pinion. That way whenever we go back on, not only are we going to be measuring the torque, but we're going to also be able to watch our marks. And anyway, let me get the camera set up, and I'm going to crawl under here and we're going to get after it. These are 12mm, and they're generally tighter than hell. So I'm going to break these loose with the breaker bar. Then we'll finish running them off with the impact. Now before I take that completely off, I do want to mark it. All right. I'm going to lightly sit that drive shaft on the ground. Now I also want to mark this nut to this pinion, and then we're going to also measure the torque coming off. And I think the easiest way to mark this is going to be probably with a we're going to do a hammer and a chisel. Now you don't want to damage the threads. Let's see, I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to do it right here on the flat. All right. That way we can tighten that nut back up to where that goes. Like I say, this has got a crush washer in it, or a crush sleeve. And you don't want to crush it any more than it already is. So if you tighten this up right to the same spot, you're going to be good, as long as all the play's out of it. Might just go just a little bit more, but not much. All right, guys, so I've got my torque wrench. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to try to monitor the torque coming off. Now, the size socket I'm using is an 1.1 inch. I'm sure this is metric, but I don't have a metric socket that size. And just to show you what I got here, I've just got a digital torque wrench, and it shows the torque as you're coming off. The manual tells you to use a rotary dial torque wrench, so you can watch the dial and see how much torque. This is similar. It does show how much torque you're exerting on a bolt or a nut as you're turning it, so this should be just as good. I'm going to try to read off the pounds as I'm going. There's 100. That was about 180. That's 200. Okay, that was about 245 before it broke loose. So now we can finish this off with the impact. That's about 245 pounds, if I've read that right. All right, guys, so I got my puller hooked up. See what we can do here. Let me reposition. And we made it to the seal. I'm gonna get a bucket, put underneath here, and we'll pop that old seal out and put the new one in. All right, guys, so I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. I can't find my seal extractor, so we're gonna have to get under this lip, go around this lip, and pop it out that way. They do make a seal extractor that'll flip, kind of hook in there, and then you can pop them right out. But I don't know where mine's at. And you do want to match up your old seal to your new seal. Make sure it fits on your yoke. Make sure your surface right here is good. You can see where the seal's been riding, but yeah, it feels and looks good. I'll get a rag. I'm going to clean out this area, clean out the yoke right here, and then we'll start going back together. All right, guys, little RTV around the edge, just a thin coat is all you need. And there you have it. All right, guys, time to go back on. That wind's blowing today, blowing my mount around. All right, guys, so I like to put just a little bit of grease right around the mating surface. I think it was more about right there. And let's see. We're going to take our nut. Let's see how many threads. Yeah, that's plenty. And we'll start going on with it. Now, I'm going to impact it on to a point to where right before it is seated where it needs to be. And then we'll line our lines up. All right. So now I'm going to take my torque wrench . And we want to torque it until the lines line up. Almost there. That is pretty darn close right there, guys. Now there's the mark on the nut. There's the mark on the pinion. Now bolt the drive shaft back on and crawl out from underneath this thing. All right, guys, so these bolts torque to 76 foot-pounds. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and top the fluid off. That's a simple procedure. You take the plug out over here on the side and you just fill it with fluid until it starts coming out. Put the plug back in. Don't over tighten the plug. The plug is a pipe thread. You don't want to over tighten it. And then we're going to be done. Anyway, this is the pinion seal. This is a 2021 F-150. I'm actually surprised that the pinion seal is already bad. Now, the book actually tells you to check the vent, because if the vent is plugged, that can build pressure up inside the differential and cause that seal to prematurely wear, is what it says. I'm not exactly sure where the vent's at, so I'm gonna have to look around and see if I can find a vent. Anyway, pinion seal, F-150, 2021. You guys take care. All right, so I've got everything all cleaned up. It's all done, got it serviced up. And if you guys was wondering what I was using to beat the seal in, this is actually a bearing adapter set for wheel bearings. But I use it for all kinds of stuff. Anytime I need, you know, a certain diameter adapter, I break this out, and a lot of times it's got what I need to, you know, to make something work. Anyway, 2021 F-150 Lariat pinion seal replacement. You guys take care.